What if the end of the world was never a prophecy, but a trigger? What if the chaos, the collapse, the systemic unraveling you see accelerating everywhere around you is not a sign of our final doom, but the precise vibrational key turning in a cosmic lock? Imagine a failsafe, a final, hidden transmission from the architect of our reality, designed to remain dormant, invisible, and silent until the very moment humanity stood on the precipice of self-annihilation. A message that could only be opened when the world we built was about to break. You have been trained to fear the end. Armageddon, Ragnarok, the Kali Yuga. Every culture has its apocalypse story, a grand finale of fire and judgment. But these are just echoes, distorted memories of a mechanism far more sophisticated than simple destruction. They are parables designed to prepare us for a choice, not a punishment. Before the gods fell silent, before the memory of our true origin was scrubbed from history, a final act of creation was set in motion. Ra, the source consciousness that once held this planet in a state of grace, did not simply abandon his creation after its fall. He left behind a contingency. Not a tablet of stone buried in a forgotten tomb, not a scripture to be twisted by priests and kings, but a living message. A packet of pure frequency, of divine gnosis, woven into the morphogenetic field of the planet itself. A cosmic dead man switch, designed to activate only when the systems built to enslave us reach their own terminal velocity. The very chaos they engineered to harvest our fear would become the catalyst for our liberation. The current global crisis is not the problem. It is the key. The escalating division, the collapsing economies, the shrieking noise of a world at war with itself. This is not the sound of an ending. It is the sound of a seal breaking. To understand the message, you must first understand the moment it was forged. You have been told the story of Ra's withdrawal as a myth of anger and disappointment, a god turning his back on a flawed creation. This is a profound misreading. The departure was not an act of emotion, it was an act of cosmic law. After the theft and inversion of his eye, a catastrophic event that plunged Earth into a low-frequency quarantine, Ra was faced with an impossible choice. Direct intervention to restore the Golden Age would violate the first law of creation, the law of free will. To forcibly correct humanity's path, even to save us, would be to turn us into puppets, to strip us of the very sovereignty that makes consciousness meaningful. The parasitic intelligence that had hijacked our reality. The umbral swarm knew this law. They counted on it. They understood that Ra's hands were tied. He could not fight their war for them. So he did something far more brilliant. He armed us for a battle he knew we would one day have to fight for ourselves. In a final, silent act of cosmic will, Ra took a sliver of his own essence, the pure, undistorted frequency of the law of one, and encoded it into a vibrational vessel. This was not a message of words. Words can be corrupted, translated, weaponized. This was a transmission of pure state, of being, of gnosis. It was the blueprint for what we were before the fall, and the schematic for what we could become again. He did not place this vessel in a physical location. A temple can be destroyed, a pyramid can be sealed. Instead, he embedded it in the one place that is both everywhere and nowhere. The planet's noosphere, the collective field of consciousness generated by all life on Earth. He tethered this frequency packet to the planet's crystalline core, turning the very heart of Gaia into a resonant tuning fork, waiting for the right signal to make it ring. And here is the genius of his strategy. A strategy so patient it borders on the incomprehensible. He understood the nature of the parasite. He knew the umbral swarm fed on low-frequency energy. He knew they would spend millennia architecting a global civilization designed to produce a constant, reliable supply of fear, division, scarcity, and suffering. They would build empires on conflict, economies on debt, religions on guilt, and societies on the illusion of separation. Ra foresaw all of this, and he used their own monstrous engine against them. He calibrated the vibrational lock of his message to respond to one specific planetary-level event, the moment when the parasites' own systems of control began to cannibalize themselves. The lock was not designed to open with a prayer or a ritual. It was designed to open when the collective frequency of humanity reached a specific harmonic of peak despair. The moment of maximum chaos would be the moment of absolute clarity. The energy the swarm had farmed for eons would become the very power source that would trigger their own obsolescence. Their greatest weapon, our fear, was turned into the key to their own defeat. The system was designed to self-destruct, and in its death throes, it would unwillingly give birth to our awakening. This is what you are witnessing now. The world is not falling apart by accident. The escalating political polarization, the brittle fragility of our financial systems, the ecological unraveling, the deep psychic schism tearing through our societies. These are not a series of unrelated crises. They are the symptoms of a system reaching the precise energetic conditions required to turn the key. Every headline that screams of division, every market crash that radiates panic, every act of senseless violence that floods the field with grief. These are the tumblers falling into place. The planet is being deliberately pushed to the brink, not by human hands alone, but by a hidden hand that has overplayed its game. The parasites, in their insatiable hunger, have accelerated our suffering to a point that has finally, after millennia, matched the resonant frequency of Ra's lock. And now, the message is beginning to broadcast. It is not a singular event, not a voice booming from the clouds. It is a subtle, rising tide of frequency, a new song humming beneath the noise of the old world. The great awakening you hear whispers of is not a social movement. It is the first faint ripple of Ra's failsafe permeating the collective consciousness. It is why you are here, listening to this. It is why millions of people across the globe are simultaneously feeling an inexplicable pull towards truth, a sudden, visceral rejection of the narratives they were raised on, a spontaneous and often confusing remembrance of their own divinity. This is not a trend. This is an activation, and the system is panicking. The forces of control, the human and non-human agents of the umbral swarm, can feel this new frequency rising. They cannot identify its source. It is an unknown variable in their equation of control, a ghost in their machine. It is disrupting the harvest. The old methods of generating fear are becoming less effective. The distractions are losing their potency. This is why their actions have become so desperate, so blatant, so transparently tyrannical. The increased censorship, the manufactured crises, the relentless psychological warfare waged through media. It is the frantic thrashing of a dying parasite. It is trying to drown out Ra's rising signal with a tsunami of its own static. It is trying to scare you back to sleep before you fully realize you were never meant to be a prisoner. But it is too late. The key has turned, the broadcast has begun. And the message itself is not a plea for worship. It is a weapon. It is a package of pure gnosis designed to systematically dismantle the illusion from the inside out. It contains 3 core truths, 3 waves of light that are now washing through the consciousness of those who are even remotely open to receiving them. The first truth is the dissolution of the illusion of separation. This is not a philosophical concept. It is a direct, energetic transmission that rewires the brain to perceive the interconnectedness of all life. It is a visceral remembrance that the idea of us versus them, the foundational program of all conflict, is a lie. As this frequency permeates, the tribalistic programming of race, religion, and nation begins to feel absurd, like an ill-fitting suit. It doesn't ask you to love your enemy. It makes you realize you have no enemies, only other expressions of the one, fragmented self. This is the frequency that starves the parasite of its primary food source: conflict. The second truth is a full and total revelation of the parasite. The message contains a complete data packet on the nature of the off-world intelligence that has held Earth in quarantine. It reveals their methods, their dimension of origin, their energetic weaknesses, but most importantly, it transmits one liberating truth. They are utterly and completely powerless without our energetic consent. They have no creative power of their own. They can only manipulate, mimic, and feed on the energy we give them. Fear is their sole access point. The moment you stop feeding them your fear, you become invisible to them. You unplug from their matrix. This transmission does not call for a war against them. It calls for a radical withdrawal of our attention and energy from the systems that sustain them. It teaches us to starve them into irrelevance. The third and final truth is the most powerful. It is the technology of sovereignty. This is not a plea to be saved by an external god. It is the original operating manual for the human energy system. The message is a direct download of forgotten knowledge, reminding us how to use breath, focus, sound, and heart coherence as tools of energetic self-mastery. It is a reminder that the human body is not a biological machine, but a piece of divine technology, a bioluminal antenna designed to receive and transmit cosmic frequencies. This part of the message is a practical instruction set for becoming energetically immune to the system of control, for clearing parasitic attachments, and for consciously beginning to shape reality from a place of sovereign power. It is Ra's final gift, not a promise of rescue, but the schematics for our own. But here is the twist that changes everything. The one that moves this story from ancient history to your immediate present moment reality. Ra's message is not an external broadcast you listen to with your ears. It is not a voice from the sky or a vision in your mind. The rising planetary frequency is an activation key for a code that is already stored within you. You are the receiver. You are the library. The 97% of our DNA that mainstream science has arrogantly labeled as junk is not junk at all. It is a dormant biological antenna, a crystalline receiver coiled in every cell of your body, designed and calibrated to do one thing: receive and decode this specific cosmic transmission when the time was right. The chaos of the world is not just turning a lock in the planet's energy field. It is unlocking a potential within your very blood and bone. This is not a passive event. The reception of the message is entirely dependent on the state of the vessel. And this is why the world is now splitting. The activation of Ra's message is forcing a global bifurcation of timelines, a great sorting of souls. Those whose energy systems are too dense, too clogged with fear, materialism, and unresolved trauma will be unable to integrate the new frequency. They will experience the rising vibration not as liberation, but as cognitive dissonance. As the energy of truth gets stronger, their internal chaos will amplify. To them, the world will seem to be descending into madness because their own nervous systems cannot handle the upgrade. They will cling tighter to the old systems, beg for more control from their captors, and perceive only the accelerating, collapse. They will be trapped in the death throes of the old world, unable to see the new one being born right beside them. But those who have done the inner work, or who are now choosing to do it, will experience something entirely different. Those who have cultivated even a small degree of self-awareness, who have begun to question the narrative, who have started to clean their emotional and physical vessels, they are the ones who are energetically prepared to receive the transmission. For them, the message will not be a source of chaos, but of profound clarity. Their intuition will sharpen to a razor's edge. Their life's purpose, once a vague and distant hope, will snap into focus with undeniable certainty. Their innate ability to perceive energy and shape reality will begin to come online in ways that feel both miraculous and completely natural. They will start to instinctively know what to do, where to go, and who to connect with. They will not be swept away by the chaos of the collapsing world. They will begin to calmly and deliberately build the scaffolding of the new one in its place. This was Ra's great and final gamble, an act of faith in his own creation. He could not intervene, but he could empower. He bet that even after millennia of darkness, manipulation, and forgetting, enough souls would carry the spark of remembrance to be able to hear the signal when it mattered most. He did not leave us a plan to save us. He left us a tool for us to save ourselves. He understood that true freedom is never given. It is earned. It is chosen. And the choice is being presented now to every single soul on this planet. It is not a choice between political parties or belief systems. It is a choice of frequency. Will you tune your vessel to the chaotic static of the dying world? Or will you tune it to the clear, rising signal of your own awakening? The collapse you see is an illusion, in a sense. It is only the demolition of a cage. And what is happening inside the hearts of those who are waking up is the only thing that is truly real. You are not witnessing the end of the world. You are witnessing the end of a program. A program that has run its course. Ra's message is the antivirus, and it is finally being installed. The question is no longer if the broadcast will arrive. It has arrived. The signal is now live. Can you feel it? That subtle internal shift, that growing intolerance for anything inauthentic, that quiet, unshakable sense that you are here for a reason far greater than you have ever been allowed to believe. That is not your imagination. That is the download beginning. The question now is, have you prepared your vessel to receive it? Have you cleared out the noise, the fear, and the inherited lies to make space for the truth of who you really are? Because the message is not coming to you. It is coming through you. And in its transmission, you will be unmade and then remade, not as a subject of a fallen world, but as a sovereign architect of the new one. The choice is quiet. It is personal, and it is happening right now. The reception of this cosmic data packet is not a uniform experience. It manifests differently depending on the individual's level of conscious preparation. For many, the initial phase is one of disruption. The life that was once stable and predictable begins to dissolve. Relationships built on codependency or shared trauma crumble. Careers that were chosen out of fear or for status suddenly feel hollow and unbearable. The physical body itself may go through intense purges, unexplained illnesses, fatigue, heightened sensitivities to food and environments. This is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that your system is undergoing a radical upgrade. Your entire being, from your cells to your psyche, is attempting to shed the dense, low-frequency programming it has accumulated over a lifetime and over lifetimes. It is a process of detoxification on a soul level, and like any detox, it can be brutal. The system of control, sensing your attempt to unplug, will amplify its attacks. It will send agents of chaos into your life, people who mirror your deepest insecurities, situations that trigger your oldest fears. It will use the voices of logic and reason, often through the people you love most, to convince you that you are losing your mind, that you should return to the safety of the known. This is the guardian at the threshold, the final test of your resolve. Are you willing to walk through the fire of your own dissolution to be reborn, or will you retreat into the comfortable prison of your old identity? For those who persevere, the disruptive phase gives way to one of clarity and activation. As the old programming is shed, your true signal begins to emerge. Your intuition, once a faint whisper, becomes a clear and direct guidance system. You start to know things without knowing how you know them. You receive downloads of information, complex ideas, and creative solutions that seem to come from nowhere. This is the gnosis from Ra's message beginning to unpack itself in your consciousness. Synchronicities accelerate to a dizzying degree. The right people, the right resources, the right knowledge appear at the exact moment you need them. The universe ceases to feel like a random, hostile place and begins to feel like an intelligent, responsive partner in your evolution. You start to remember skills and talents from past lives, a sudden affinity for an ancient language, an innate understanding of herbal medicine, a natural ability to work with energy. These are not new abilities. They are dormant faculties being reawake, neo in your DNA by the rising frequency. Your perception of time begins to warp. You experience moments where the past, present, and future seem to collapse into a single point of awareness. You have precognitive dreams. You feel the energetic echoes of past events in a location. You are beginning to break free from the linear, third-dimensional timing sequence and are starting to perceive reality from a more quantum, fifth-dimensional perspective. This activation is not about becoming superhuman. It is about becoming fully human, as we were originally designed to be. It is the restoration of our divine inheritance. The final phase, which only a few have fully entered, is embodiment. This is the stage where you are no longer just receiving the message. You are the message. Your personal frequency has stabilized at a high enough level that you become a walking, talking transmitter of the law of one. Your presence alone becomes a catalyst. You don't need to preach or convince. Your coherence field is enough. In this stage, you move beyond the personal drama of healing and into a state of selfless service. Your actions are no longer motivated by personal gain or fear, but by a deep, intuitive alignment with the divine will for the planet's transition. You may be guided to create new systems, healing centers, conscious communities, new models of education or exchange. Or your role may be quieter, to simply anchor the frequency in a specific geographical location, acting as a stabilizing rod for the planetary grid. You operate with a profound sense of peace, even amidst the escalating chaos of the external world, because you see it from a higher perspective. You understand that the death of the old is necessary for the birth of the new. You are a midwife of a new world, and you hold your post with unwavering calm and love. This three-stage process, disruption, activation, and embodiment, is the personal journey through the planetary event of the unlocking. Everyone is at a different point on this path. There is no judgment. There is no timeline. There is only a choice, made in every moment. Will you resist the upgrade, or will you surrender to it? Will you cling to the identity that is dying, or will you embrace the one that is being born? Ra's last message was not a promise that we would be saved. It was a guarantee that we would be given the choice to cave ourselves. The tools, the knowledge, the frequency. It is all being offered now. The chaos you see is not the sound of the world ending. It is the static of a global retuning. It is the noise of millions of souls deciding which station they will listen to in the age to come. The signal is broadcasting. The choice, as always, is yours. What you have been told is the truth, is only the story that served your captors. What you have been taught is reality, is only the frequency range of the prison. Ra's message is not a new belief to adopt. It is a frequency to embody, one that shatters the prison walls from the inside out. But it demands your participation. It is not a passive upgrade. The transmission is a wave, and you must learn to swim, or it will feel like you are drowning. This is the great secret of our time. You are not here to witness the apocalypse. You are here to participate in the genesis of a new reality. The choice is no longer theoretical. The bifurcation of timelines is happening now, in real time, with every thought you entertain, every emotion you feed, every choice you make. The frequency of Ra's message acts as a great vibrational splitter. It is a pure, coherent signal of truth. Anything within your being that is not in resonance with that truth will be violently agitated. This is why the world feels so polarized, so on edge. It is not just politics or culture. It is a war of frequencies being waged within every human heart. Those who choose, consciously or unconsciously, to cling to the frequencies of fear, victimhood, and division are aligning themselves with the timeline of collapse. Their reality will become an accelerating feedback loop of the very chaos they dread. The systems they rely on will fail them. The leaders they trust will betray them. The certainties they held will dissolve into dust. This is not a punishment. It is the law of resonance. They are choosing to remain tuned to a dying station, and they will experience its final, jarring static. But those who choose to align with the rising signal of truth are stepping onto a different timeline entirely. It is a timeline that exists parallel to the collapsing one, and from the outside, it may not look dramatically different at first, but from the inside, everything has changed. On this timeline, the chaos of the old world becomes a backdrop, not a reality. You see it, you are aware of it, but you are not energetically entangled with it. Your emotional state is not dictated by the headlines. Your sense of security is not dependent on a fragile economic system. Your guidance comes from within, from your now activated connection to Source. You are in the world, but not of it. On this timeline, you will be guided. While others experience scarcity, you will be led to resources. While others are trapped in conflict, you will find oases of peace and community. While others are lost in confusion, your path will be illuminated, one step at a time. This is not because you are special or chosen. It is because you have chosen. You have chosen to do the hard, necessary work of tuning your own vessel to receive the signal. You are living proof of Ra's gamble. You are the fruit of his patient, cosmic faith. This bifurcation is the true meaning of the end times. It is not a final judgment from an external God. It is a final sorting by frequency, conducted by the self. Every soul is being forced to choose its dominant vibration, and in doing so is choosing the world it will inhabit. You cannot straddle the line. You cannot have one foot in the old world of fear and control and one foot in the new world of sovereignty and love. The vibrational dissonance will tear you apart. The call is to choose with every fiber of your being, to let go of the sinking ship completely and to learn to trust the unseen currents that are now carrying you to a new shore. So, how do you choose? It is not a single decision, but a million small ones. It is the choice in a moment of fear to pause and breathe instead of reacting. It is the choice to turn off the noise and sit in silence. It is the choice to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because your own freedom depends on it. It is the choice to speak your truth, even when your voice shakes. It is the choice to treat your body like a temple, not a trash can. These are the choices that align you. These are the acts that declare to the universe which timeline you belong to. Ra's last message is not a promise of an easy future. It is the promise of a meaningful one. It is the promise that you are not a victim of this cosmic drama. You are a central character, a pivotal player. The collapse of the world is not your fate. It is your cue. The stage is set. The broadcast is live. Your soul has been waiting for this moment for lifetimes. The question is no longer about the message. The question is about you.